welcome back to my stream. This is part 3, and as always, this stream is meant to allow people to ask questions where I can explain to them part of the game, or explore part of the game that, if I don't have an answer to, I can find it. But for now, let's continue the game. So, in my last game, I recently had a uprising from my slaves. I'm still recovering from that. Most people at this point would just call the city quits and start a new one. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to power through it and recover from this rebellion. I've almost got enough workers back from my rebellion to be able to work normally, with a few minor exceptions. So what I just did was my employees weren't maxed in this nursery when I looked at it. Nurseries should always be manned. The reason for this is, one, it's my primary method of increasing my population. I don't rely on immigration, I rely on growth. And two, when a baby dies, you have a massive happiness loss. And that's never good. This mass grave is filled with the bodies of the rebels. Yes. What the hell? As you can see, I have a happiness problem. I'm going to address that, but I just need a few more workers before I can. I don't need that many workers though. In my last stream, I cleared this area for housing, so I'm going to start building some housing that I have a little bit of manpower to do so. First off, before I build housing, to see what exactly is messing them up. Looks like humans have low services. I can probably do without the beds, actually. No, I can't. They're not getting very good bed. Happiness is the problem. They may be sleeping, but they're not happy about it. So let's try to fix that. right now, I'm trying to find a format where I can eliminate all the yellow. Because I don't like that. So I'm going to go with an old tried and true method I use. Put a pillar at the rear of every bedroom. Have all the apartments facing one way so that you're not blocking a doorway. It's always worked for me in the past. The problem with the method I'm doing right now, it's very compact. It's not really a problem, to be honest. You just need to rely mostly on carpets to get that service quality up. Oh, coziness is pretty maxed. I might have overdone it a little. And there. Nice and cozy. Put some entrances. No, my isolation is still 100%, that's good. So I'm going to explain this a little bit, the housing issue. You have your apartments, and you have your dormitories, or your regular beds. Your sleeping services may have a higher percentage, i.e. 89%, but what all that means is that's the amount of people able to sleep. Or better said, this is their access to the sleep. So 87% of my population right now are sleeping in a building I've built. When you build an apartment, it has a much higher hidden stat, a happiness stat that you don't get in your dormitories. And that actually creates a significant boost in their happiness. There's, I don't think the tooltips explain that particular mechanic very well, if at all. This is something you have to kind of learn through testing. Am I only short one log? I'm only short one log. Oh, now it's a little less because it was... Alright, there you go. Anyway, so it is an EA game after all. It's not complete yet, and tooltips are subject to change. So you see their happiness right now, 30%. Well, let's give that a little bit of time. And already, without doing anything, it's starting to go up a little bit. Give it a little bit of time and it's going to just keep increasing, the loyalty. And the reason for that isn't because they're sleeping more. They're actually sleeping less, but they're getting better quality of sleep. As you can see in this bar, the bar for apartments is significantly bigger than the bar for dormitories. The quality for both of them is still 100%, because the coziness is 100%, but apartments are simply better. It's flat out. They take more space, so you'll be able to not fit as many workers in a small area, but your workers will be happier. makes sense. So I disabled my hunter earlier. I still seem to be keeping up on my food. My income slowed down because we're not getting the leather. So I'm going to reactivate it because I want that income. Right now I'm playing fire. I don't have any odd jobbers. If anything happens to my economy, I could be seeing some devastating effects. But something that might be of interest to note, while I only have one odd jobber, you're seeing a lot more than one person going. The reason for that is when farmers have completed their daily progress, as you see here now, they all went over here. Farmers become odd jobbers, just not counted as odd jobbers, while they're idle, so to speak. But when they're odd jobbers, are only odd jobbers around their farm. So I'm kind of relying on that right now to kind of keep me going until I can get some proper odd jobbers. And farming came just in time. I was worried that my babies would start starving to death. But they won't. Oh yeah, that's right, I have 2 of these now, don't I? Excellent. Very excellent. But it looks like I'm overproducing a little now. But that's okay. I would rather... Actually, I'm going to increase this. I don't want to end up having a problem like I did last time where I ran out of fruit. I had to buy any. So let's take a look at our happiness. Now it's been a little bit. It went from 30 to 43%, and all I did was build a flat house. You can see their service is going up a little. Not as much as I would have wanted, but it is going up a little. But now I have to start thinking about penny pinching some happiness, because right now they're too low for comfort. I'm gonna build something I almost never built. Hearth. So with a hearth, it's a gathering place, or a place for them to warm up when it's really cold. These are manned by your janitors. Unfortunately, a hearth is only ever built on dirt, but it kind of makes sense because it is a fire pit. You want to put these roughly between your workplace and your living area, if you can. So I'm going to delete this eventually, because it's going to become useless to me in a very short period of time. But as you can see, the available services is getting used quite a bit. So right now I should be seeing, yeah, I'm seeing quite a big growth in services already. So I'm slowly avoiding a disaster. these, so I have 24 beds. So now I need to start making other buildings. So I'll see if I can fit 24 in here. There's 20. 24. Oh, that was ridiculously easy. Is there a doorway? No. Okay. So I'm going to put a doorway up here. Because I'm also going to build a food area right here. But first, I'm going to build a warehouse. And there's a reason for this. Or should I build that warehouse? I will build a warehouse. But I think I'm going to build a janitor first. I can't build it there. But I can build it there. Now I'm going to build my warehouse. The reason I'm building this warehouse, in case anybody's caring, is because in each housing unit, I'm going to have, obviously, food. Once I get into building some bigger housing units, I'm going to have taverns. But also, the janitor here needs the resources to repair this house and everything around it. Keeping your buildings in well repair increases their efficiency. They'll be happier, or if it's an industry building, they'll just be more productive. So you don't want all your buildings being old, decrepit. That's just not good for happiness. So having a warehouse nearby is, well, quite important. And because I am a good leader, I'm going to let them eat decent food. Maybe not right now, though. I don't have a steady industry to produce metal or pots or coal. So canteens are out of the question right now, but I can do neatery. So I need 24 services. There's 16. 23. Okay, so let's do it this way. Make sure I'm not, yeah, I was blocking that doorway. I just need to build it bigger. There, that'll do. That way my doorway right here isn't taken out. And then I can build a doorway here. Need a doorway here. No, I'm going to put the doorway closer down here, closer to the warehouse. And we also have the doorways into the living area. I'm going to take a wood fence. Oh, that's too wide. So I need roughly 24. So I'm going to build 2 wells. Because I'm too poor to afford a bathhouse yet. But I want my people to be clean and not dirty. So I'm going to build 2 wells. That will give me... No, I'm going to build 4 wells. That'll give me 32 services. More than enough that I need. And I'm going to entertain them. I'm going to make a stage right beside the wells because I want people seeing everybody bathe. Then I'm going to create a speaker. It may seem silly to add both types of entertainment, but they are both types of entertainment. While it's true that entertainment can be seen as just entertainment, they do get a separate bonus, as seen in other services. Right now I don't have a stage. I won't have an arena for a while. Roads. So I'm gonna... Because I'm desperate for population, I'm going to buy as many as I can get my hands on. Free all Dondorians. Now that I have a lot of workers again, I'm going to start restarting my industry. I want to get this paper back as soon as possible, because right now I'm almost worrying that my knowledge is going to start degrading on me, so I want to prevent that. So I'll get my paper going first. I still have a few furniture, so I don't need to worry about that. And my wool, well, I still have a lot of wool. So paper is the only thing that I'm really out of right now. And as you can see, my knowledge is actually degrading. So I want to really counter that. So I'm going to continue building my roads in here. I'm just going to encase this in dire. Normally, if you want to keep harmony, you keep all this either just grass, dirt, or you'd put trees. But I'm not here for harmony. I'm trying to create terror. Why is this not built? Oh, I'm out of wood. Of course I am. And I have no workers, so I have to cut trees down by my farms. So when they're idle, they can cut trees. And I haven't had enough time for my woodcutters to produce. And for any of my viewers that were watching yesterday, if you thought that the game was over because I had that rebellion and lost half my population, think again. On the Discord, I have Master Builder title for a reason. I only have 11 prisoners? Oh. I guess that's right, a lot of their days are coming due. If you have a trial, i.e. you build a courthouse, generally you can reduce these prison sentences by quite a bit. It gets prisoners out of your dungeons quicker. But I definitely don't have the resources to do that yet. I probably won't for a while, actually. You first need the research. I don't think I have that research. No, I don't. But you also need gems. And gems aren't cheap. Unless you're super rich because you have jewelries. But gems themselves aren't cheap for early game. It's not worth the investment. Auto-employ, auto-employ. I'm just gonna auto-employ all of these. Now that I've built some housing districts, let's see how my happiness is. For my humans, it's gone from 30 to 64%. Loyalty is skyrocketing. My services have gone up a fair bit. So I think I've avoided a riot. My Talapis, I'm not going to use this all selection. The happiness is a blend of all the races. My Talapis are all prisoners and slaves, so they're not going to be happy. So you can't trust this all. You kind of have to make only your... Oh, that's even going up still. You have to kind of focus on just the races you want. So for me, it's humans, Cretonians... No, humans, Cantors, and Dondorians. Dondorians aren't too happy right now. Why not? So their services are a little less. Environment's less. Their work... So everything but food is less. But they're the backbone of my military. So I have to try to figure out how to make them happier. And I just figured it out. So if you click on the work button right here, there's something called retirement age. And this is a good and a bad thing at the same time. If you keep it at 0, that means they'll work their full life. Because they don't work as they're babies, and they don't work when they're super old. But if you increase the retirement age, it's basically making them able to retire at a younger age. What that also does is, if you increase this, as you can see, their happiness and loyalty is absolutely skyrocketing. They don't have to work as long as other races would in percentages of their life. So this is the easiest way to kind of boost your happiness. But at the same time, it may affect your workforce to a smaller degree. But now that all three of my races are super happy, I no longer have to worry about riots. And now I have enough workforce that I don't have to worry about a slave rebellion. My submission is also high again. And because I'm not having a massive intake of new slaves, my submission is keeping up. So any new slaves I get through birth won't really have an effect on my submission. Like I mentioned in my previous stream, if you have a sudden rush of a lot of slaves, because their needs aren't being met, their submission drops. But if you trickle in your slaves little at a time, then they do partake in their services and their submission stays stable. My mistake yesterday was I did a little too much. I enslaved an entire race, which I would have been fine, but then I had a battle and enslaved them, and that just put me over the edge. But that's not going to happen now. And now I can get rid of this earth. As you can see, nobody's using it. Well, barely. There's not enough people using it for me to justify it. Oh, what do you mean? I guess enough use it, but I still don't like it, so I'm going to use it. You're going to see the happiness. It's going down a little, but not much. It just went back up, so it didn't really affect me. because I have this, and this is far more valuable. Oh, I completely forgot to update this warehouse. Man, I'm a noob. Anyways. So I'm going to put some rocks, wood. So basically the basic resources. Anything that you'd use to build this section, you need to put in here. But also, they need to eat. So right now, they have everything in there. What kind of taxes can I get from this? A lot of fruit. That's good. Okay. So I'm going to let them keep eating fruit. So I'm going to add some bread because eventually I'm going to be taking that. Fruit and meat. And I'm going to put some drinks in there preemptively. I don't need it right now, but eventually I'll use it. So now I have all the resources I used to build this section, so I can keep the place well maintained. And I have sufficient food stocks to feed everybody in here with interest. So I shouldn't run into any hunger or starvation issues. Something's bugging me right here. Yeah, this is bugging me. LCD won't let that go. This is bugging me too. There, that's better. Ooh, that's bugging me. There we go. Ah, crap, now it's bugging me. This is the problem with OCD. But now I know clearly where all my doors are, and everything isn't just dirt on the ground. Can you imagine walking from your bedroom to your living room and just having like a piece of dirt? Not just like dirt that you put in your boots, but like no floor there and just being ground. Can you imagine that? That's what that was like. I'd fire the contractor. Alright, so now I have 18. That's 25 already. That's also fully manned, fully manned. I think I want a little bit more workers before I add another carpenter, or better said, reactivate the carpenter. My slaves are going back up, and as you can see, since I restarted the paper, my knowledge has went back up. So how old are these guys? 3? So it won't be too long until they're adults again and I have another rush of workers. See if these guys are quicker. 2. Okay. Alright, so these is going to be my next worker rush. So once these guys come to, I'll restart my carpenter. Not making any money because my carpenter's not making anything. My furniture's slowly going away because I'm using it to maintain my buildings and natural spoilage. But that also means because I'm not producing anything, I'm not making any money. I won't be able to buy more population if I need it. Or hire mercenaries. That's a good one. Okay. My military's not too bad off right now. I wish they'd just eat their meat instead of... Oh! What happened here? My meat stopped being sold. That's gonna get me some money. A fair bit of it. I might have to buy some more fruit. And I'm gonna disable fruit from here. Maybe once I get my taxes I'll re-enable those. But I'm gonna buy some fruit because I don't want my babies to die. Buy those immediately. Hopefully this sustains me. So it'll take them a couple days of game time before they die. So you got a little bit of time. That looks like it came in just in time. Just in time, holy smokes. Come on, where's my other 100? Come on. Don't leave me hanging. There you go. Oof. That gave me jitters. I got to buy more even. Sure, I'm gonna buy 400. Now the babies have eaten, they're good for another day or so. So by the time I get that 400, I should be fine. That 400 should last me until my farms are done. But because I'm writing this issue to begin with, I'm going to room copy this and create a significantly bigger intake of fruit. Eventually I'm going to be getting rid of all of these farms completely. Once I'm able to take my taxes. But that time is not now. Okay, good. That should last me. My humans aren't happy anymore. It's hurting their happiness. The services are going down a little. Alright, so my people are starting to sleep in dormitories rather than apartments. That means I don't have enough apartments. I could have told you that. So here's what I'm going to do. I have a fair bit of workers, and instead of increasing my industry, I'm going to take the lazy way out, and I'm going to create a temporary housing unit of the same type up there. And because it's temporary, I'm just going to put it down here. Yeah. More industry is supposed to go here, but I need these houses now so I can avoid a riot. And I don't have the space cleared out yet. I really should move these ox pastures. Did I place that right? Yeah, I did. It's just looking odd. Once I've built these, I'm going to remove this, free up more space for my housing district. Unfortunately, it's going to cost me a fair bit of resources to make all these changes, but progress over... well, not progress. I guess that'd be called stagflation, wouldn't it? Or stagnation, whatever you want to refer to it as. But now that I got some better knowledge, I'm going to invest it. There's no point in having that much knowledge just sitting around. So, where is my most needed sections? I could put it in the... I'm going to do that, actually. I'm going to increase my knowledge in game. Am I losing any resources? Not likely. I'm going to do something I almost never do in my other games. I'm going to increase my pastures. I've never done this, but I'm doing it this time. I don't know why. Actually, I know exactly why. I'm using meat as one of my primary incomes and my main method of feeding my people right now. And if I get enough, I can start selling livestock. And if you see here in exporting livestock, well, right now, leather is 19. Meat is about 15, I get those. Cotton, I can sell that for 12. Livestock, 343. So it's a very valuable resource. Very, very valuable. It's worth 3 times as much of a gem. Roughly the same as a silicon ore, but I can make a lot more livestock than I can silicon ore, based on how many people I put towards this. So if I have full pastures, the thing about these is you don't actually really need new livestock in order to man them. They don't degrade like that, and it's just how the game is coded. They don't die of old age. So when you get your livestock, it's true livestock. So if you have a bunch of tilapia, which are good with pastures, working on livestock, then you can feed your people, especially if you're an ox. You can feed your people, clothe your people, and then sell for money. It's a good all-well-rounder. I just wish they'd work a little quicker. I have the wood for it. Oh, I know why they're not working that quick. My housing unit. Am I? I don't have any, Alright. So, first off, I am seeing the need for my industry to come back. Finally. But I'm going to clear some rocks first, get that out of the way while I still have all of my odd jobbers. And I'm just going to generally clear my fields around here, kind of prepare them for future expansion, while getting all the resources I can from it. And that way I don't have to worry about getting rid of a resource without getting it when I expand. Only 9 riders. I'm fully expecting my 10 guards to basically put an end to that. Are you kidding me? They're not done yet. They're murdering everybody. Ugh. Idiot guards. Must not have enough guards. Let's see. Well, it's blue. They should have taken care of that. So here's what I'm going to do. Those were probably human guards. So they probably didn't do anything because they're racist. So I'm going to change my work priorities here. I'm going to make Dondorians guards. Put that to 20. And that way, Dondorians will man my guardhouses. So let's see here. Alright, so they switched over to Dondorians. They should make much more effective guards than those humans did. Lazy buns. Couldn't stop less people from riding. Well, that set me back a little bit, but fortunately not too much. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, that didn't set me back at all. I just built some workplaces that took up the same amount of workers that I thought I lost. Excellent. So they did kind of take care of it. Let's see if there was any wrongful deaths. No. No wrongful deaths. Okay. So those humans actually did their job. Now I'm going to remove this pasture. Now, when you remove a pasture, as you're going to see, you have all those resources that were ready to be picked up. But now, you have a bunch of livestock. So, take it if you will. If you need a big influx of livestock, just get rid of one of your pastures and you'll have a big influx of livestock. Funny enough, that means they're not dead, unless no one comes and picks it up and then they degrade on the ground and die. But because... Actually, I might need to start selling some livestock. So I'm going to do that. Because I got no furniture, I'm going to start selling livestock. Because I can afford it now. So 50%. So I should have about 100 livestock on here. You're about to see my money absolutely skyrocket. And then these livestocks are going to absolutely skyrocket. So because I had such a stock, this one filled up immediately, and this one is probably going to fill up immediately. Let's see if it does. But now that these people are working here, all my pastures are ready, I can restart my industry. I still have 8 workers left over. Awesome. My industry is almost... No, it's not almost back to its glory. It's past its glory. I am now better off now than I was before that riot. Or better said, before that rebellion. And I'm full on animals. That's good. So each one should make 46 per year. Well, that's new, so it's not going to have anything. So I'm averaging probably about 46 per year. These trades work in groups of 32. I'm just going to make sure I'm right here. $768 divided by 6. Okay. So they store 128 per flat, but they sell in groups of 32. So what that means is every year I should have at least one sale per, and on all 3 of them, so I should have 4 groups of sales per year from these 3 pastures. So 32 times 4 is 128 livestock per year that I can realistically sell. And if I'm selling these for 300 and, we'll say 340, kind of go below the price it's going to sell for. That means every year I'm going to make 43,520 coins. And you can see my treasury is starting to increase now. It's a far cry from the 28,000 I had earlier. I can actually afford a mercenary band if I need it. So, with my further research into livestock, I'm going to actually max that out. That 42, or 46 now, is going to be higher, because now I have the technology giving me 68% cumulative bonuses. I'll also be able to feed my people more. And once I get the manpower to oh, that's a lot of manpower I have now. Not anymore. So now, as I was literally just saying before I got distracted, I can start building for clothing now. I have a good income of cotton, which I should actually be selling. For now, anyways. So I'm only going to sell 20%. And that way I keep 80% of my stock. And that way I'm just keeping myself producing, so to speak, while I set up my clothing empire. So, the reason I pick Onks, and I explained this in the first video, but I explain it again. The reason I pick Onks over Indolent being pigs and Onks being sheep, for anyone who wants real world terms, a Onks may give me less meat. That's true. At 1.25. An Indolent will give me 1.5, so that's 0.25% or 25% more meat. Oh, I accidentally right-clicked there. But an Onks gives me 0.38. That's a little more than the 25. So overall, you get more resources in your Onks posture. Just not all meat. But what this also means is not only am I feeding my people, but I can clothe them as well. You can't do that with Indolents. So these give me multiple uses, more resources overall, in the same amount of space. And as proof is there, my cotton is laughing, and because I have the cotton, my fabric is increasing. And I'm soon going to use this fabric to make clothes. But first I want to see how much I consume for cotton. Right now it's looking like I'm making... Well, it was 279 produced the previous year, but I just increased that by 30% with my technology. And I have enough money to afford people, but who do I want to buy? You know what? I'm not going to buy anybody right now. I'm stable, and I don't want to throw myself off stability. As you can see, my slaves are also greatly increasing. Slaves only sleep in dormitories. They don't sleep in apartments. The slaves are very cheap to maintain, and they work the same amount as a citizen. So it's basically free labor. You don't lose anything for it. They're just cheaper to maintain. They don't count towards your population count for the purpose of your status. And they also cannot become soldiers. That's the downsides of it. But for everything else, they're super cheap to maintain. My slaves are also the ones that are manning my pastures right now. I'm going to ensure that that's the case. Work priority for Talabi first and foremost. And they're already max for the pastures, so already the Talapi should be in there. But now I'm going to do slave Talapi, and they're also max. So I don't need to change anything because it's already there. So that's a Talapi, that's a Talapi, Talapi, Talapi. So they're all Talapis already, which is good because Talapis as a race work best with pastures. And because they're slaves and I have dormitories nearby, that means they're getting the most out of their submission. Hence you can see my submission is 100%. But now that I got enough workers, I'm going to look at clothes now. What I'm going to do is that come on. So now that this is built, I'm immediately going to destroy these because I know I'm going to be changing it. Instead, I'm going to do fetch on fabric, and these guys are going to fetch it from the nearest source, so they're going to fetch it from here. And then clothes. Technically, you can make clothes out of leather, but I'm selling my leather right now because I need the money. If I was ever to be attacked by an enemy force, I would need to hire some mercenaries. I couldn't do that without money. But now that I have my endolents making me lots of cotton, and I have my weavery making me lots of, as you can see, fabric, now I'm going to make clothes so that my people are comfortable and happy. So that's in work, crafting, and tailor. And like all my other industry, I'm going to keep it the same format. You can see already my storehouse here is ready for production. So I'm going to come to my primary storehouse and get rid of this storage. Because I want that to focus in my industry. If I have my storage here, then it's not 100% focused here. Oh, I need metal. So I'm going to buy 200 metal. 202, that's fine. I always buy the cheapest because I'm cheap. I'm okay with waiting a little bit. I just paused the game, and the reason is I have no fruit, and I just realized it. I'm gonna buy a fair bit of fruit, and hope that my babies didn't all die. Why aren't they keeping up? So they're not eating fruit. They're not eating fruit. Oh, they are eating fruit. They're eating fruit. And now my tailor is full. Now you're gonna see down here, I'm creating, as you can see, but it's disappearing as fast as it's creating. The reason is, long and short of it, my people are all naked. They've gone for so long without any clothes that any clothes that they started out with have degraded. So they're all kind of running around naked, as you can see. That 0.19, the 19 is only because I started making clothes. They were closer to 0 before. So now I'm going away from being a naked barbarian to being a civilized man. I'm a man of culture. Of course, being naked could also be a culture, depending on your culture. I'm a clothing cultured. But now I also need to start thinking more intently about my housing district. So I'm going to keep these here for now because they're supplying my slaves. My nurseries, if I recall, so 24, I should be able to get about 16 from each one. So I should get about 1,500 population from my current nurseries, given time. So I'm about 1/3 of the way there, so I don't need to worry about building any more nurseries at this time. I'm still going to grow to about 3 times the size I am now with what I have. So instead, I'm going to focus on their happiness in this respect. So let's see what I can do with my knowledge. I'm going to unlock bathhouses. I'm not going to unlock chambers yet. Something to note, cantors only sleep in chambers. They don't sleep in any other form. Cantors, if there were more cantors, they would absolutely hate me. But because there's so little, they don't expect much. But as you can see, they don't sleep in anything other than chambers. So my cantors right now are just sleeping on the ground. And that's okay. For now. Once I want more cantors for my super army, I'll build chambers, but that's a little ways down the road. Right now I have a lot more other people who are running my city that need the services now. I also want to try to rush chieftain rank so I can start taxing my region. I'm going to change this. Spell my own name. So while I'm waiting for my population to just kind of go up a little bit, I'm going to build my flag. I don't know how I'm going to build my flag or what I'm going to build my flag with, but I'm going to do something. Yep. Crap. I didn't do much, but it's different. I'm okay with that. Alright, so my population went up a bit, so I'm going to build more industry, believe it or not. This industry is going to be... How much wood do I have? I have a lot of wood. I'm not making as much wood as I want to, but right now I have a fair bit of excess wood. I'm going to create another library. And I was about to build a charcoaler, but I changed my mind. The reason I changed my mind as I was saying, is because I was just thinking that I need to eventually start buying my raw resources so I can really boost my industry. And the best way to do that is to have efficient industry. Right now my industry is not very efficient. It's very baseline. It gets by, but I'm not making money off it. Right now I'm actually just making money off my hunter and my pastures. I'm not making money off my industry. So if I get myself enough technology, I can increase the amount of efficiency my industry has, and then I can simply buy the resources I need for it without worrying about the cost, because I'll be making more. And that's the ultimate goal here. That's how I'm going to get rid of all my farms, is through taxes and industry profits. If I don't get it for free from taxes, I'll get it from the very vast wealth I'm going to have. Fairly soon, actually. I just need my library to finish its construction. Unfortunately, the furniture and fabric that is needed, I am producing in my current industry. I also actually need another woodcutter. And this is a good area right here, so I'm going to take this from my woodcutter. I'll take a little bit of that open space. I'm taking the open space because I need somewhere to put my storage and auxiliaries. Now the trees are quite dense here, so it might take a little bit to get the auxiliaries built. And you could just put them at 1 and throw little auxiliary chests all over the place. But I'm a little more conservative with my appearance. You can see I'm actually just holding my button down, just putting my brush everywhere. And occasionally I'm lowering the size of it. Because once I stop getting hits on these bigger items, I lower it and I go over again. Until eventually I hit 100. So I have very minimal wastage of space. And I actually have more workers in this area than I do in this area. This one has 25, I should be able to fit 31 in here. So I'll get more wood out of this. This is actually closer to my industry, so it will supply my industry quicker. But I don't have the manpower for it. So before that finishes building, it's not going to finish building at all, because I need rocks. Okay. So before that finishes building, I'm going to find an industry I can tentatively pause, and I think that's going to be paper. I have a bit of paper right now, so it should last a little bit until I get my next group of people. It's more important for me to get this wood in here right now. And I need that wood to operate my carpenter, because I'm running very low on furniture. And the more of these buildings I build, the more demand on my furniture there will be. So I'm going to have that selected, and I'm going to disable it just before it's done building, so I can maximize the industry I have for paper. My paper maker won't be down for long. A year, tops 2, until I get my next wave of grown citizens. Or slaves. So much for 250%. And they are still moving quite fast, I guess. I'm just gonna renew it. Or 250 times, not percent. Close. There. Completely operational. Odd. Oh, it's because they haven't checked in for the first day of work. There you go, completely operational. So I don't know which room is broken. So I'm going to take this repair tool and just go over everything. It's supposed to be one of these farms, but they all look operational to me. We go over everything just in case. Riots sometimes damage your buildings. Sometimes you have to repair your buildings. Buildings don't just repair on their own. You have to queue it. And the easiest way to do that, instead of rebuilding the building, which you can't do, is just click on this repair button and just click and drag. You can click and drag the entire map if you want. But that will queue the building to be repaired. It's basically the same as if you pressed this refurnish room button. Oh yeah, that's some nice wood. That's even better wood than there. Not surprised. My law seems to be doing very well. I might need a few more pastures though. This is using about 1,500 cotton. 3, 6. I'm only producing about 1,000 cotton per pasture. Or not per pasture, I'm producing about 1,000 cotton in total. I'm using 1.5, so if I double my pastures, I should have an unstopped industry production. I'm surprised when I'm looking at the Discord frequently, because the point of this channel, as you may know, is to interact with the questions and answers section of the Discord. It seems almost every time I stream, no one asks questions. I wonder if they're just looking at my stream. I see my knowledge absolutely skyrocketed. So now, what kind of industry do I want to build? I think first and foremost, I'm going to max my foreign relations. Now, foreign relations is important to max, and the reason for that is, as you were seeing, my meat is selling for about 12. Now it's selling for 28. So foreign relations directly affects how much you can sell your resources for. And my 340 sowing for livestock is now 652. So once you max this technology, you in effect double your sale price. And that's half of the vital requirements to having an industry-based economy. The other half is picking what kind of industry you want to do. And in that respect, you boost that industry type. So there's two types of industry. You have your finished product, such as clothing. Then you have your higher tier materials, such as fabric. if you go into the work, you have refining, which is your higher tier materials, and then you have your finished, which is in your crafting. The finished goods are always much higher value. It'll cost a little more to make them if you don't invest in refining, but you can do both. But you'll get more out of your points with finished products, depending on what that finished product is. So right now I'm going to look for the one that does everything, which is this one. And I'm going to max this. So much like farming, there's two buff trees. You have your Workshop 5, which does everything 10%, everything 15%, 20, 25% for everything. But then you have your only tailors, only carpentry, only pottery. So I just boosted everything to start off, because what that does is it makes all of these better right now. I've maxed it, so I can't max it anymore. And that 2.88 is now 4.28. So that's a pretty significant boost. It's almost double the boost. So this is saying it's 70% higher. So almost double the boost for technology. Now, I'm looking at this, and right now my paper is hurting pretty bad. But that's because I don't have any work in there. So I'm going to activate this again, because now I can afford it. Do I even need the paper, is the question. Actually, I'm going to do clothes, because clothes will keep my people happier than paper will. So you see, 4.28, and my technology is 70%. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to add 2 points into clothes. 4.78 and 95%. So it is additive. But you see here, this hasn't changed at all, because that was only for clothing. This is remaining at 70%. So this is additive for this in their multiplicative additions. Just a tip in case you didn't know about that mechanic. But now I need more libraries, because my technology is down. I'm going to put a library down in my government sector. No, I won't. I'm going to put it right beside my other library. So my humans are pretty happy. Cantors are happy enough. My Dondorians are super happy. I was going to increase their clothing rations, and I still might. Yeah, I'm going to increase their clothing rations to 3. And what that's going to do, it's going to make them happier. It's going to increase their equipment happiness, but the more clothes they have, the less chance they have to die to heat or cold. So, a hearth, you build this, it keeps them warm when it gets cold. But if you have a lot of clothes, this doesn't do anything. They actually won't visit this place if they have enough clothes to keep them warm. So you won't get the happiness. You only get happiness with a hearth when they actually visit it. So if you have a lot of clothes and passive happiness, they just won't visit it. And if they're too hot, they'll often go to the lake and swim. But if you have a lot of clothes, that's irrelevant because they won't get cold either. So clothes gives them environmental resistance, so to speak. Or not, so to speak. That's exactly what it is. It gives them environmental resistance. As you can see in the bonus, it went from 0.5 to 0.7. And the more clothes you give them, the more that will take effect. But now, once they hit 3, they shouldn't run out, or they shouldn't die of exposure at all. I haven't had a death exposure for a while, if at all, actually. But it also makes them happier. As you see, their equipment stat went up, and their happiness percent also went up. It's costing me a little more in clothing, but I just boosted my clothing in my industry, so I'm not too worried about it. They better not be taking those workers from my nurseries, just to ensure that they're not. Just one more. One more. There you go. Now I'm going to let that play out for a little bit, because the general rule of thumb is 10 to 20% odd jobbers. I haven't been following that rule. Theoretically, I should have about 45 odd jobbers, but I've been pushing my workers to their limits. So I need to build this a little bit. So right now, this is the perfect time to start building more housing districts. What I'm going to do, I already unlocked baths, right? Yeah, I did. While I'm waiting for those housing districts to build, I'm going to set up to buy coal. Pretty sure I set up a box, yeah, so I can store some coal. And the reason I'm setting up for coal is for baths. Now that I can create a proper housing district, I'm probably going to put a little bit more effort into making this than I did with this block. So I'm going to build my template right here. I'm going to make the bath the centerpiece. Basin. Okay. What was that? I can get away with that though. Alright, so my bed's probably gonna be over here. So I need a doorway there. I'm gonna put doorways here. So I haven't created industry to make cut stone or metal yet. Luckily, I have industry to make me money. So I'm gonna buy it. So I'm just gonna buy 200 of each. And I overbuy that because I need it for maintenance as well. So that should cover building my bathhouse. But that's not enough baths for my liking. But I'll adjust that a little later with some wells. Now I'll need a laboratory, a lavatory. I'm building this pretty close to my district here, so I don't want to build it too big. I don't want it to be so open like that. Ah, that's an idea. That's an idea. I'm going to address those wells right now. Which means I'm also going to put some doors. Now, if you build a structure and you didn't put doors here, you can manually put doors. And it's actually just wooden ceiling. That's what it is. I'm going to put 3 here. And then I'm going to expand this room because my OCD will kill me if I don't. And I kind of don't want to get murdered by my own OCD. So I'm going to fix it. There we go. Now, lavatory. So I have my doorway into my lavatory here. Lantern. I don't need any workers right now. And I'm building more for appearance, so I'm going to overproduce the basins. So bathhouses work similarly to that of an apartment. While a well has a lot more cleaning capability, it doesn't give them the same happiness as a bath would. The same as, while they will sleep in a dormitory, they won't get the same happiness as they would in a flat house. Alright, so I have 26 services here, 20 services here, and 16 services here. So I need to aim for 26 apartment. But first, I'm going to build a canteen. So much like, let's make sure it's the same. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, but they're right from the get-go. See if my tables can handle that. See if I can't fit more cooking stations now. There we go. 37. No, 18. I need a little more if I can manage it. see if I can get away with this. Yes, I can. So I'm going to do a couple things, actually. "187 soldiers, 22% training, 17 equipment. I can definitely destroy them with not only my forces I have now, but also a bunch of mercenaries. So I'm going to make this entire section doorway. You're going to see very shortly why I just did that. And this build I'm about to do is going to have a little less isolation, but I'm accepting that. At least it's not yellow and badly sized. So now that these doorways are here and the walls are built, I have a canteen, which is, well, the difference between a canteen and an eatery is the same kind of difference between a dormitory and an apartment, or a well and a bath. A canteen, they eat more portions, and it costs quite a bit of upkeep, but the food quality is also much higher. Whereas a eatery is based almost solely on spamming it. I need to increase that. I can't increase that much. So I don't need many services here. I'm gonna do one more line. I could get away without it, but one more line. That doesn't leave me very much room for rebels. Quadrati. So I'm going to click OK on that. And I am going to have to fix that up later, but I'm going to have to do that later because I have to take care of these rebels. So I don't think these Talapi are going to take care of them. But I think these Garthemis will. See, Garthemis are naturally very melee oriented. I would say they're equal to, if not better than Dorians. I'm going to verify that right now. So a Dorian has an offense skill of 1.19, defense skill of 1.2. And a Garthemi, well, that's a lot less. But as you see, they have 10 armor, whereas a Dorian only has 1.4. So they have half the skill, but 10 times the base armor. So they're a lot tankier. A lot tankier. And if you just scroll between the two, you'll see Dorians have not much pierce, but Garthemis have 8 times the amount of pierce. Dorians have more blunt, but they don't have 8 times the amount of blunt. So, take it as you will. Dorians will do more damage, generally speaking. But Garthemis are very tough. And they do a fair bit of damage still. More pierce, so if you have an armored enemy, then they'll go through their armor a lot better. So I'm pretty comfortable with my selection of going with Garthemi. Also, another thing to note, Garthemi are kind of cowards. Their morale is 0.5, whereas a Dondorian is 2.29. A Dondorian is very unlikely to run away from a battle. Look at Talapi, 0.8, 0.5. These guys are 0.7. Humans, fairly well-rounded 1. You'll notice the Cantors. Their blunt damage is in the thousands. Their armor is 10, offense is high. So Cantors also have 6. They'll never run away from battle. They'll just kill everybody around them. And their lifespan, 8,000 years. Very high resistances. They heal. If you go to any other race, it's not quite as good. With Dondorians and Garthemis competing, but I think in the end Dondorians are better if they're well equipped. But Garthemi are a very, very good choice as well. So I'm going to resume the speed. Take my newly hired Garthemis and attack these enemies. And you'll notice that they'll follow the roads as best they can. They won't just go right in the field. Alright, so they outnumber me by a fair bit, but because I have a superior fighting force, i.e. I have a race of warriors that are well armed because they're mercenaries, I actually have the advantage, so I'm going to engage in this battle. Because I want to fight it. Alright, let's see this slaughter. Come on. You can do it. The archers, I see. Now you can see the enemy are already starting to rout. That's because they're not well trained. They look like they're a various assortment of races. In this case, they might be human. And it took my guys almost nothing to absolutely wipe out that larger army, because they didn't have a good setup of forces. And I'm going to take all these people. I'm going to send my army back to Moaz. This time I need to remember not to just leave them there, because these people are expensive to maintain. So before I do much, I'm going to free all of these prisoners that I'm getting. Come on. Ah. My dungeon couldn't handle it, so I lost a bunch of potential population. That's okay. They were free population anyways. Got my mind's on it. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to left click on disband. And that way they're not going to drain my treasury dry for just existing. So the army doesn't disappear, but it doesn't cost me anything. Next time I have a rebellion, I'm going to go back there. Now, as I was going before that battle, the reason I didn't put a wall is because I'm blending these two to kind of make it look like the same room. And because I was in a rush, I didn't turn all this into doorway, so I'm going to do that now. And then I'm going to add a tavern. Sure, so I can go one more. Looks of it. Yeah, one more. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to fit much in here because of the tight spaces. That's all I can fit, actually. Yeah, my knickknacks does it. So, I don't have much services. I'm not going to get much out of it, but I'm going to get some happiness from it, providing I have some drinks. And some happiness is better than no happiness. The good thing about all these buildings is they all share the same floor. That way, they all look like the same room. For the Kryptonian type builders, that's a good thing because you can make all sorts of janky room types that are all intermixing, and it would look good. It would look the same. But because I'm not building with primarily Kryptonians, I want square rooms. So building the way I built is the ideal for the races I have. So now my people can bathe, they can use the bathroom, they can eat good food or bad food, and for those available they can drink. And I have some drinks that I had since looks like the start of the game. Or I might have plundered that from war. But people are starting to get drunk. And let's see if that's affecting many people. So you see the drink happiness has increased for a few of my races. That's because they're starting to drink. It's not much, but it's something. And I'm going to show you in here. It's not this one, but I'm going to look here anyways. It is this one. So you have your rates. They go crap every 4 days. They need to bathe every 4 days. They get hungry every 2 days. But they only need to drink every roughly a little under 10 days, 9 or 10 days. Maybe even 8, actually. So they don't need to, and they only sleep every 4 days. So they can go about twice as long to drink than they do to bathe or eat or crap. So you don't need as many drink services. Half the amount of services will go just as far as your regular services. And now that I'm out of drinks because everybody wanted their drink, the happiness is going to go down again. But they were already pretty happy to begin with, so I'm not too concerned. So now, I need to think about the warehouse. No, I'm going to build the janitor first. No, sometimes I click the right button. So I'm going to put the janitor right here. And then the warehouse right here. Take a doorway, so it's going to go straight through. While those are building, I'm going to work on my dire roads here. Now, if I was building with a different race in mind, I would probably be building this much differently. But many of these are very square in nature, which is great for Dondorians. Which, as you can see, are very happy. And I'm going to make one employee. I'm not going to unemploy. I'm going to treat this the same as an industry building. Well, there's a problem right there. So, my OCD is killing me. Alright, so once that's done building, so it should be any moment now. With that many workforce, it should be any moment now. Okay. So I know I'm going to be creating high-end stuff, so I'm going to create a little bit more of a stock of all of these basic items than my other one, because this is obviously going to be a bigger and more complex system than up here. Already it's roughly the same size, and I'm not done yet. Haven't even built my sleeping area yet. Then I need some drinks. Oh, I ran out of space, so I'm gonna have to scale this back then. Then I got all the basic resources to build this. No, I don't. I need to add. So I need coal, because that coal is going to operate the canteen and the bathhouse. But now I need cut stone for the bathhouse. Where am I going to take that from? I'm going to reduce the fruit, because I don't want my people eating fruit as much. And I'm going to put that fruit towards cut stone. And I'm going to make them fetch everything. Whoops. And the reason I'm going to make them fetch everything is because I want my housing units to be stocked up at all times. Because, for example, if I don't have coal, the canteens and the baths won't work. So they won't be getting good meals, they won't be getting good baths, and they won't be getting those bonuses from it. That's also half of the services I have available here. So if those go down and they don't operate, or it takes them too long to operate or run out of services, then it's basically like not having them there. So I need to have the resources always available. The thing about the fetch function is if another building has the fetch function for the same thing, it will not fetch from that building. It only fetches from buildings that store it but do not have fetch enabled. So now that I got my warehouse with all my applicable resources, I got a janitor so I can keep the place well maintained. I have my crap, my food, my drink, and my bath capabilities. I just realized this is the same resource as my dire roads. Interesting. Must be a very dire action to clean yourself in a well. But now I need to think about sleep. So, I'm building a pretty high-end building, so I'm looking to do high-end sleeping. So I'm going to need apartments. I'm going to jut this out a little bit. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Give it a little bit of a shape. That's not just boring. Well. Mm-hmm. 20 services. Actually, shrink room. You might be thinking what I'm doing right now is odd. And normally it would be. I'm not going to deny that. However, what I'm doing is setting up for slaves. Now I'm going to make all of this doorway. Now, unfortunately, this isn't very square. It's like a C. But whatever, that's fine. So the entryway is going to be through here. That's fine by me. I don't want an entryway outside from up here. So I made all of these doors. And now I'm going to place a dormitory. And so I left this area open so that I could connect to the dormitories. And that way I can have a dormitory on either side, kind of make it even. That gives me another 8. I wouldn't have been able to fit that many. Well, that gives me 12 actually. But can I fit the knickknacks? It's 83. Let's see if I can't. 100. Haha! Perfect. I have way more than enough workers are needed. Now, why is this yellow? I'm going to construct that anyways. That's why it's yellow. Wooden wall. Oh, there's a wall there already. Why is it yellow then? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's a dormitory. They're really easy to maintain. If it was a flat house, I'd fix it, but it's a dormitory. I don't care that much about it. Unfortunately, the ground of the dormitory is a bit different. It matches the food for some reason. I could put the dormitory here and it'd be fine, but I'm not going to. So now, if I have any slaves up this way, they'll sleep in here. Or, if my apartments are full, for some reason, then I have some overflow, and they can sleep in the dormitory. I fit a lot more beds than I ever could for flat houses in here. That way, I have good services, bad services. Good services, bad services. Good services, bad services. So this housing block fits every service type. But I'm not done yet, because now I want to make sure my people are happy. Or, better said, well entertained. So I'm going to... Should I build a hearth? No, I don't think I'm going to build a hearth. Because they're going to all have clothes and they're not going to wear it anyways. Oh, that reminds me. I should probably put clothes in here. But where am I going to take it from? I'm going to take it from meat and then put clothes in here. That way, they also have clothes that they can pick up anytime they need. So when you wake up in the morning, you go out here, you pick up your clothes, then you go to work. Because you're not bathing because you're dirty. But back to what I was doing, I'm going to make these people happy. I'm going to build a speaker right beside there so everybody can see them bathing. That's probably all I'm going to do. Because the stage is too big and that will mess up what I'm about to do. Which is build a fence. And what this fence is going to do, it's going to funnel people. And that way they're not doing this to my ground. As you can see, they're already starting to regenerate. Fortunately, these people don't care that there's a fence and they're looking there anyways. So now they're kind of happy. But only 50 people can service that. 40. So that's about enough for this building. So I don't need to do anything. But instead, I'm going to put something else there. Because I don't want to waste the space. It's not going to be a torch because I can't get that big enough. But what I will do is put some torches in the mid. Go to my technology, which I haven't been to for a while, which is good because I have lots to work with now. And I'm going to unlock these. I'm going to go back to here, just unlock my decorations. I'm going to pick a statue. And statues can go to 3, so I'm going to build this statue. And it takes cut stone, and that's fine. So now I have light and some other type of happiness that I get for having this around it. Actually, no, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take away this statue. I'm going to put a tree there instead. It'll be a lot cheaper to maintain and it doesn't look so out of place. This is a block, but it's a good looking block. There. Now I fill all their needs. They have light, they have bathing, they have harmony, they have dread, they have entertainment. Everything they need. And let's take a look at their happiness. Their happiness is really high. And I suspect that's going to maintain really high. And somehow I got a whole bunch of cantors. I don't know how, but I did. And I'm super close to getting my goal. I have too many slaves is what it is. That's okay. So this doesn't look like a bad housing unit to me. It's not just a bunch of blocks like that. This looks like it actually has some character. I just made it square with a bunch of decorations for ease of copying, like I'm going to do right now. Copy. And by copying it like this, you get... Oh, I don't have enough space. So I have 24, so this is 16, 12, which is 28. Only this gives me much better, so I'm going to destroy this. Because what I just built is a superior product. I also do not believe that I need my hunter anymore. They're still producing me a fair bit of resources, especially in leather. But I don't need them anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. I want the space for one and the manpower for second. More specifically, I want to copy this room. Or better said, this housing unit. So that I can increase my housing. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap here. And then put roads. An alleyway down the middle. For those people who are too lazy to take the main roads. Now I'm going to need more cut stone because I know some of the buildings have that. I'll need more metal. And pots. So I'll buy all those preemptively. So I think I'm going to max out my clothing. Now remember, my clothing was about 4.8 before, with 95%. Now it's 6.9 with 205%, now that I've maxed that out. So now, for every 2 fabric, I'm making 7 clothes. And if I increase my weaver, oh wow, my clothes have actually really gone up. So I'm going to start selling clothes soon. But first, what I need to do, I need to double my production. Why can't I build here? Ore. Stupid ore. Maybe I won't double my production. 1, 2, 3. Count. 1, 2, 3. Blocked by terrain. Alright, it's because I have a little bit of deep water here. So, let's remove some of that water. I could probably build this here. I'd have to remove some water. But we have some ore here. I'm not too concerned about the ore. It's not very high deposits. I'm probably not going to waste manpower on that. In fact, I'm not going to waste manpower on that. I'm probably going to build over it. I might just put my posture on there anyways. Dig my canal. That's an idea. Yes. That's what I'll do. I'm gonna face all of these the opposite way and then build a slave conclave in here. That way I can remove these. Now, the double wide might look a little odd. There are a lot of builders who would just never do this. But there is a benefit to the double wide, and that is noise. A wall reduces noise pollution. 2 walls reduces noise pollution by 2 times. Ooh, my technology is really hurting. So, before I run into an issue, I'm going to create 2 more libraries because I have a lot of population. There. So with those 2, I should be able to remove this library. And then I'll have a block of libraries. That is built over some rocks, but that's okay. Now that my clothes are producing so quickly, I see I'm maximizing on my stock. I'm going to start selling, instead of cotton, which is always being used now, I'm going to start selling clothes, which is selling for 16. I'm going to sell half my stock. For the same reasons as mentioned in my previous videos, I don't want them degrading on me. I'd rather sell them than have them degrade. So I sell, and this has come up in the questions and answers as a question in the Discord a few times. Why would you buy or sell a finished product when the raw product is so much higher? And I had quite a long response, but I'm going to explain it here. Right now I'm selling a clothing for 16. If I were to buy cotton, I would have to spend, we'll say 40. Ooh, did I get it? Haha! I did! Well, it changes this. No! It doesn't change. It still sells for 16. Oh well. Alright, so I'd have to import cotton for about 40. But I can only sell this for 16. That's okay. So let's do some math here. If I take 40 and divide that by 16, that means I need 2.5 times the amount of clothes for every cotton I buy. Or I could just buy fabric. It would be the same thing for me. Or 2.5 fabric for every clothing. In essence. Or vice versa, 2.5 clothing for every fabric to break even. So, 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2.5 is 5. I'm producing 6.91. So even if I were to buy cotton or fabric at full price, I would still have about 2 clothes of excess. So if I have 2 clothes of excess, then that would mean at a cost of 40, I'm selling for about 32 more. So I'd have about 32 profit from this 40. That is industry. If I further want to make that better, and very, very soon you're going to see that. Alright, so let's see. Knowledge. Do you see that's working? I need to increase my paper, because my paper is having issues. I need knowledge for what I'm about to do. Paper. I don't think I can increase my paper with technology anymore. But that's okay. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna make blacksmiths. So I have unlocked a smithy. And I unlocked as many of these smithy upgrades as I can. I'm gonna copy one of my industry templates. Immediately cancel the tailor. So impromptu, before I start linking all these with roads and making them pretty, I'm going to have to create a few more import depots. So now this is building. Let's open this with my newly unlocked smithy. Workbench, like every other bench I have. Yeah, 177 metal. Do I have that? Almost. So I'm going to buy a bunch more. We're going to immediately change this. Stop that from fetching. Now this is one that's going to be a little different. To run a smithy, you need both metal and coal. I'm going to run 4 boxes of each. And this smithy, once it's built, is going to be for tools. So I'm going to put the remainder of my boxes into tools, which only gives me 4. So I have 4 crates of each type. A nice even spread. What that also means is these 2 imports I made, I'm going to set 1 to coal, even though there's a coal here, and 1 to metal. Now, in the short term, this is going to obliterate my treasury. But that's fine. Because these tools are going to make a much bigger difference. I'm okay to spend that money and invest it to get more later on. As you see, I'm starting to produce half 100 tools so far. It's just started. What I'm going to do is show you a trick. Right now, as you see, the technology is 115%. I can increase that later with more technology, but I don't have that right now. But I have the technology from my initial technology boost, where I was boosting all of my industry, hence the workshops. So we'll take note of how much we're able to use here. Right now it's producing 2.88. Now you're going to see how most of the major cities actually operate. You're going to click on Workforce. Then you're going to click on Tools. You find the building you want to increase. In this case, mine's work. And what I want to do is, first and foremost, I want to increase my smithies. I only have 1 smithy. Now I'm going to max this out. And it's going to take me 240 tools. I don't quite have that yet. But I will soon. Very soon. Very close to it. Now, tools do get worn down and have to be replaced. 232 tools, that's weird. Alright, so now I should have enough tools to maximize this. But I'm going to give it a little bit of time. Let the game register that everybody working there has a tool. While I'm doing that, I'm going to start building my roads. Eventually I'm going to remove this housing system and replace it with one like this. I also need to start thinking about light. Now, I don't have to import metal anymore, because due to my industry, I have light being naturally brought in from my imports. Now, I'm overlighting my settlement right now. This is just gonna kill my OCD. I can't accept this. Has to be there. Then 1 there just to make it even. So now that a little bit of time has gone past, and I'm starting to see some tools, although very low, just sitting. Oh, no, it's gone. Once I start getting some tools in here, we'll take another peek at the smithy. But right now, it looks like they're still getting used up. Well, when you know, just as I said that, I started getting some tools. So that tells me that they're probably fully manned right now. So it was 2.88 before, right? It's 3.33 now. With the tools increasing it by... Never mind, I guess I was wrong. They weren't fully manned. So I'll come back to this a little later, once they are. So what am I going to do? Oh yeah, no. Roads, Dire Road. 4. Alright, so I'm going to start lining up for this industry. I definitely have enough workers to do that. Now, if you were watching from the first video I had, the settlement looked kind of like crap. I'm going to admit that. It did look kind of like crap. But now that I've picked where I wanted to start placing things, you can kind of see the settlement starting to shape up. This is going to wrap up in a little bit. I still got a few buildings I need to remove, like this one. And I need to create a trade district. I need to remove this and remove these. And eventually I'm going to get rid of this very shortly. But you're going to start seeing this all start wrapping up, as you're probably starting to see it starting to right now. Come on. Tool up, guys. I don't have enough paper to run my libraries. So I need to create more paper plants. The problem isn't that I don't have enough libraries. The problem is I don't have enough paper. I have enough wood to supply my paper cutters and everything else, so it tells me I don't have enough production. I could order it, but I'm not ready for that yet. Especially since I just boosted my paper makers with technology. It'd be silly in my mind. Are you guys done tooling up yet? It takes them forever. Nope, apparently they're not. As you can see. ready yet. I'm starting to see a stock starting to build. Quite a big one. Okay, I'd say this is pretty safe to check. So it's 5.7 now. It started out at 2.88, and it's still growing for some reason. And the equipped tools is, well, 300% now. So the tools have more than doubled my production, and that's more than double on top of my technology boost, which doubled it. So tools, if you max out your tool settings, makes the biggest difference in your production. I haven't yet changed my technology yet, but now I'm making 6 tools instead of just the baseline. With the baseline, you get 1 tool per 2 metal. Now I'm making 6 tools per 2 metal. So effectively about 12 times the efficiency. Or, well, I guess it'd just be 6 times the efficiency now, wouldn't it? Okay. I have enough people. It took a bit of a hit to my treasury to set this up because I need to import the coal. But importing that coal not only keeps my metal high so that I can build these torches with no issue, but the metal and the coal will also go to feeding my services and maintaining any buildings that cost metal to build. So that's kind of a two-pronged benefit. I'm keeping my industry going, and I'm keeping everything running smoothly. These tools are also creating a rather big influx of efficiencies. I can put a tool to any of my industries. I can make this 7.7 go to closer to 15 if I max out the industry. But I'm going to take a look at our trade. It takes 2 metal, which is 40 each. It comes out to 80, and 3 coal, which is 23 each. So we'll round that up to 25, so 75. So for a cost of 80 plus 75, that's 155 to buy the resources to make, in this case, 5.5 tools. That'll go up, but we'll take it right now when it's not completely maxed. Now if I was to export a tool, each tool is 56. So we'll keep it at 56 even though it's fluctuating a bit. And if I was to sell that for 5.5, or 5.5 of them at 56, that's 308. So 308 negative the previous 155 is a profit of 153. Now that's providing I sell everything. Tools, in this case, most of it's going to be used. So my money might still be a little bit lower for a bit, but once I get a lot of tools, then I'll be able to put those tools to something that's going to be much more valuable, such as jewelry. And I'm actually going to unlock that. Now that I built my second paper maker, actually I can start selling a whole bunch of things here. I should start actually. So instead of what I was just about to do, what I have to do now that I have the workers, is I'm going to create a trade district. I'm going to put my trade district I don't much like this, but I'm going to put it down here in this forest. Normally I'd go and I'd make pillars like this, but I'm not going to do that. I'm too lazy right now. Instead, I'm going to doing that. Ooh, that's an idea. I guess I don't have to do that idea. Right, doorways. Come on. Give me a doorway. Oh, I see. I'm going to create an excessive amount of doors, and you're going to see why in a moment. Expand the room. Nice, easy access. Now you noticed I'm building all of my buildings in wood. Or maybe you didn't notice, but I'm building all of my buildings in wood. The reason for that without building a grand building, my Dondorians don't much like it, but my Dondorians aren't going to be working in these buildings. My humans, they don't care whether it's wood or stone. But wood is a lot easier to get, and it's a lot cheaper to work with. So I'm building mostly in wood for those two reasons. My populations generally don't care, except for my Dondorians. And it's cheap. Eventually, I'm going to be turning a lot of this into stone. Actually, I should probably start doing that now. No, I'm going to do it a bit later. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to segregate my races according to the jobs they work best at. And my Dondorians are primarily going to be military. So my section right here is going to be turned into stone. And just for tutorial purposes, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you go to structures, and you go to stone building, you click that. You click this convert button, and you scroll over. What that does is everything that's available to be touched, they're going to take down that wood and replace it with, as you can see, stone. So now, this is a stone building. And any Dondorian going into it will like it more. They'll have that stone increase. And I'm going to do this for all the buildings in this district eventually, but I'm not too rushed to do that at this time. Right now, I'm more interested in my trade district. So I just built a massive warehouse. I'm going to auto-employ it, but not touch it yet. And this is going to be one of my main warehouses. I'm actually going to destroy this warehouse up here, because I'm going to have this. This is also where my trade is going to be done. that way I can replace my import and export. But I'm not going to create just a bunch of small ones. I'm going to create big ones. Oops. Well, this is racist. So those are imports. Exports. Oh, I should have done my exports first, I guess. No, pixels like that too. Then I'll put dire roads, so they all look nice and pretty. Stick a couple pillars. And a few torches. Illuminate, make it pretty. So let's see what I have up here. I'm importing coal and metal. So I'm going to import coal and metal. Temporarily, I'm also going to import, where's pots? Pottery. Now I'm exporting. I'm going to export clothes at 50%. I also need to export, looks to be furniture at 50%. Exporting I have enough people, so I'm not really, I shouldn't export food much. So I have clothes. Interesting. I'll keep it at that. And remove. So I'm going to remove this whole district here because I just removed that district over there. Now, I'm going to have them fetch the full resources. That way, once our carpenter is done building their furniture,
instead of just leaving it here in the carpenter, this master warehouse that is exporting furniture will go and fetch it from my industry and bring it to this storehouse, where then they can sell it very quickly. I do that for tools as well, because eventually I'm probably going to be selling tools, possibly. But because this is a main warehouse, this is also where one of my primary storage areas is going to be. I mean, that should have been obvious anyways, but 5,100. So, clothing. Now the reason I put stone and wood in here as well, I'm not going to fetch it though, but I put it there because those are building materials as well. You know what? I'm not going to do arrows or bows at all. Temporarily start exporting my fabric because I have too much of it. Now that I have 1.9 thousand tools, let's take a look at this. They should be full on tools. Yeah, they're still up there. But now that I have a lot of technology, I just maxed it. Shoved it right back up. Now the technology is almost the same as tools. Almost. And soon I'm going to have so many tools I don't know what to do with. But you know what that means? It also means I'm going to throw it towards my libraries. I wonder how much they're affected by tools. I've never actually tested that before. I'm going to try it. They don't have as many slots. So I just added 3 slots, whereas industry has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slots. So they can obviously use a lot more tools. So let's see what kind of tool difference they make. So the tools are starting to make a difference. So that means my technology will boost soon. But now, I'm about to do something possibly very reckless. And I did this before when I had my slave rebellion. This one's a little less reckless than that. I'm going to try it anyways. Because if this pays off, it's really going to pay off. Get rid of this smithy. If I can make this work, I'm set. Need to move this guard post. Because in the way. Put some police right by the nursery. In case those babies want to commit any crimes. And I think I'll stop the video after I build my risky endeavor. Just to give a pre-warning. I want to see if it's going to break me or not. Alright, now that this is open, I'm going to take these down. Oh, I wasn't fetching anything. Fetch coal and metal. So I'm going to make a jeweler. Jewelers are the way to get super rich in this game. The problem is not having a jewelry, starting a jewelry. I'm not sure I have enough money to start a jewelry, to be honest. But I'm going to try anyways. I'm going to increase the toolers in my tailor so that if this goes sideways, I have something to make money to keep me afloat. And you're going to see it went from 7.7 and within seconds it's 10. And they've barely started touching their tools. So that 32 profit I just told you earlier in the video, well, it's in the hundreds now. And that 100 is, well, it probably stopped gaining right about now. But I still have technology I can put towards it. Oh no, I can't. Never mind. Still, a little over 12 once I get education in there and my nobility, then that will increase. Alright, jeweler. So I need gems and coal. One employee. And I'm going to import. Instead of pots, I'm going to import gems. I possibly built these a little too large. I could probably cut these down in half. In fact, that's what I should do. Export depots. Still too big. Exporting is a lot less than importing. everything, especially if you have taxes. This is probably way too many gems. So now you see that my wealth is completely pacified. And I'm going to pause this right quick because I'm going to increase the tools of my jeweler. I want this to be as efficient as I can right off the get-go. I did increase that, right? Yeah, okay. Hasn't gone up. Oh, there you go. Jewelry. Okay. I should have gems on the way. Yeah. I have a fair bit of gems on the way. And I bought these gems for 375 a piece. I'll be able to export jewelry for 1,325 a piece. Normally the price would even out, but because of my tools and my high degree of research, I'm actually creating more jewels than I am for gems. So I had about 400,000 before. You're gonna see me in about the millions very shortly. And I haven't even started my admin yet for taxes. I was gonna do that, but I'll do that in my next video. Alright, so I'm going to export. Riot, 27 rioters. Luckily it doesn't affect me in the slightest. So I'm exporting clothes. I'm exporting fabric. Exporting tools. Right over. Right. And up here I see no damaged buildings, so I don't need to worry about anything. Right, so clothes, fabric, tools. And I'm going to queue jewels for export. Alright, so now I'm starting to create some jewels. Not much, but I'm starting to create. Unfortunately, like everything else, these don't sell unless they're in groups of 32. So you won't see any money come in immediately. And this was the gamble, if I'd be able to afford to get this rolling. Looks like I might have sold something, but probably did sell something and just bought the resources right back. So I'm going to change my imports here a little. Right now I'm exporting all of my jewels. But I'm only going to buy up to 70% stock for all of these. So let's check my prices. Okay. Don't have the money. I can see my earnings usually range between 4 to 30k. Right after I built those jewelries, I'm in the 90k range. With my expenses, used to be about 15 to 10k. Now my expenses are in the 90k range. But my jewels haven't taken off yet. It's taking a little while. And this is still part of the risk. Because now my city is trying to build or trying to buy all of these gems to try to fill the stock that we just created. And until those gems have reached their limit, it's just gonna keep buying them. But as I sell more jewelry, and as you can see my jewelry is starting to increase in its amount, I'll sell them in bigger quantities, make more money, and then buy more gems. As you can see, I have 516 inbound gems when I went from broke. 416. So that's telling me that I'm actually, my gamble is starting to pay off. Are these guys not fetching them? Ah, no, of course they're not. So that's why I was selling them so slowly. Even though I have hundreds, there's hardly any on there. And the reason was I wasn't having my main warehouse have that and fetching it. But now that I'm fetching it, you can see that this is just absolutely starting to fill right up. So that was a mismanagement in my mind that I fixed. But now that that's gone, I just sold it all. And my earnings is 123,000, but my expenses also went up because 544 inbound. So this is going to take a little while until you start seeing the millions. But once my stock gets up to where it needs to be, then I'm going to be making a lot of money. And then technically, I can just import everything. I can import all my food, I can import all my resources, I could buy massive armies, or I could just build more industry and become even richer. This is one of the well-known ways to quote-unquote break the game if you go too excessively into it. I see here I sold 485,000 and only 375,000 expenses. That means I'm basically starting to flatline, and I've already got 110,000. Next year I'm expecting about 500,000 or more. The year after that I should be in the millions. So a question just came up in the questions and answers section of the Discord. The question is, do subservices all provide the same service type? So for the example, are dormitories and flat houses fulfilling the same service demand, with flat houses just providing additional happiness with less efficient use spacage? So here's the answer to that. I answered it earlier in the video, but I'll give it more clarification right now. When you look in the Citizens tab, and you click on the services, yes, they do fill the same demand. For example, this is your primary happiness filler for this service. This is the accumulation of both the apartments, the beds, and the other beds. Or better said, the apartments, dormitories, and chambers. They all go into this. So whether you fill it with beds or apartments, or dormitories or apartments is really irrelevant. They all go towards the same service here. However, as I had mentioned earlier, there are definite happiness bonuses which are hidden. I don't know of anywhere you can actually see these happiness bonuses, except for here. The blue icon here is twice the size of this, but you notice the percentages are still the same. So for this section, the question is accurate. They do go towards the same service type. However, what this doesn't take into the account is the blue line here. This blue line means the happiness they get from that stat, which is not reflective of the top. And that can be very, very misleading. Because if you're seeing 72%, you'd expect 72%. Unfortunately, that's not exactly true. It may be 72%, but apartments give you a bonus hidden percent that isn't reflective. The same goes with chambers. Chambers is like the difference between a dormitory and an apartment. However, chambers are very difficult to maintain because they only generally have one person sleeping in them. They take 2 people to man. They're very expensive to build to begin with. You only build chambers for cantors or nobles. I hope that provided clarification to the question. If further clarification is needed, please advise. Well, I haven't heard anything, so I suspect that I've answered the question sufficiently. With that said, as you can see, my treasury is rebuilding. And in my inventory, you can see, wherever I find it, that I have a full stock of gems. So now I shouldn't be buying gems anymore, or very little gems, but I should be selling a lot of jewelers. So my gamble paid off, and soon I'm going to be super rich. We're going to see fairly shortly. But as I said earlier, once I've built this risky building and had that move, I was going to end the stream. I'll further go into taxes and administration on my next stream, and any other general queries that may come up in the Discord or through the stream. Thank you for following this channel and watching today, and I hope that you had a educational time, or if you really felt like it, I hope you had a good time. And have a great day.